Hey you guys, what's up? My name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my most used products in 2021. There will be some repeat products from the best makeup that I purchased in 2021 because odds are if I loved it, I used a lot of it. But some of these items I didn't purchase this year and I got a lot of use out of those, or they ended up not being like the best purchase, but I did enjoy them. So a little bit of a different video. I thought it would be fun if you guys want to see my worst purchase makeup of 2021. Let me know in the comments. I do have a series called Products I Hated. I'll link that playlist above if you want to check it out. There will be, and that's why I kind of was on the fence about like worst of 2021, because like I've done the products that I hated and a lot of those products would be in this video, but I can definitely narrow it down and compile them to like the 10 worst products. If that would be interesting to you, let me know. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. We want you to stay and hang out with us. Also, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out and it helps other people to be able to find me. That being said, enough rambling. We're a minute 30 in, and yeah, let's go ahead and just start this video. So I have these like laid out in kind of like order of like primer, concealer, foundation, bronzer, blush, etc. So hang tight till the end because we will get to eyeshadow palettes. We will. But I'm going to go through all of the products kind of in order just so that I can keep track of it myself. The first product most used in 2021 is the Auric Glow Lust. This is literally all I used to prime my face from when I purchased it, which is like the very end of January. I bought this at launch and I used this all the way from January until July, I believe, which is when I got my next product. But I used this for about 7 months straight, and like I put a dent in this puppy. Like we are down to like below half, and then I've kind of strayed away from it. But once I finish up an additional primer, then I'm gonna focus on this one. But yeah, this was literally all I used. I do recommend it. If you want to know what I recommend instead of this, be sure to check out my best makeup purchases of 2021. But I really did enjoy this and I used it a shit ton this year. I actually don't think that I'll repurchase it though once it's empty because I found something that I like better. But yeah, used the fuck out of this. The next product in the priming category is going to be the Milani Bright Side Primer. Picked this up in July and basically have not put it down since. If you've been here, if you've been on IG, then you know this is, I love this. It's my holy grail. It is so good. It's actually super, super close to being empty now. And I already have a backup repurchased because it's so good. Like I said, I've used the shit out of this. It's what I used for, you know, the remaining, 5 months of the year. So yeah, still going strong. Love this. The next product that I used a lot this year is the Dose of Colors Concealer. This is the only concealer that I use basically all year. I discovered it earlier in the spring, and then that's all I use because it's my absolute favorite. It's so good. However, not earlier really, probably about 2 months, I had a really bad experience with their customer service. I had picked up my summer shade when they had a like, I don't know, it was like 50% off or something like that. And within 3 months, the concealer was like 4 different colors. I know I referenced it in another video here on YouTube. I can't recall the one. And so I reached out to the brand and I was like, hey, like I've had this for maybe 3 months. I don't feel comfortable putting it on my eyes. Like the colors are all shifting. They won't mix together. It's separated. And then they were just like, we don't sell expired product. Like you need to shake it. Like basically saying that it was my fault that I didn't know how to make it not separate. And then I was just like, well, this is like ridiculous. You know, this is like my favorite concealer. And they were just like, sorry, like nothing we can do. And I was like, okay, well, that's like pretty fucking disappointing considering how much publicity I gave this product. And I really loved it, and I still love it. But they were just like, sorry, can't help you. Here's like a 10% off coupon, as if I would shop there again. So yeah, I had a really bad customer service experience. So I wouldn't recommend this, but it is the one that I used the most this year. And I am currently on the hunt for a new Holy Grail concealer. If you have a recommendation, let me know in the comments. I hate that I have to start this journey over again because it was a long journey before. The next product where I'm going to be moving on to foundation, I have the Kind is the New Pretty from Tarte. This is their powder foundation. I actually have two in my collection right now. I have the shade 15N and I have the shade 22N. I can get it open here. This one is my winter shade. This one is my summer shade. Can't hold it. I'm an influencer. But yes, so I actually completely finished one of these this year so like we don't have like a mask mandate where we are right now, but we did for a really long time. And this is something I used a shit ton in 2020 as well. Because if you, a tip I got from Jackie Aina, gosh, I'm literally everywhere. Can I finish a sentence? No. Don't ever expect me to be able to, like, that's my brain. But I watched a video from Jackie Aina and she did this tip where she put all her creams on as a base and then she went over the top of everything with a powdered foundation and it looked so good. I tried this tip of hers and it does look really good. 2, it's super long wearing, and 3, it holds up against a mask. So if you're like somewhere where you're still wearing a mask all the time and whatnot, that is a technique that I recommend. Creams for your base and then go over everything with your powder foundation. That shit ain't gonna budge. You might get a little bit of wear, obviously, but that for me was the best technique to ensure long-lasting makeup with mask wearing. So I use the crap out of these. I recently started using them a little bit again because I've been masking up. My boyfriend tested positive for COVID. I'm vaccinated and I'm not symptomatic, so work told me I could not work from home. I had to come into the office and wear a mask. So that being said, I have been wearing a mask, so I switched to using my powdered foundations because I was like, man, I really love that way of the technique. And I feel like the technique itself is a lot quicker because you don't have to be as precise with your blushes and your bronzers. You can literally just fucking smack it all on. Doesn't even have to be blended out because when you put your powder foundation over it, it just does all the work for you. Like it is, if you're a gal that wants to be out the door in 15 minutes, that's the technique. If you guys want to see the technique, leave a comment and I'll do a video on the technique. I might do it anyway because obviously I'm very passionate about it. The next product in the foundation line is going to be the Huda Beauty foundation stick. This is another one that I used so much this year. I completely used up one of these sticks. I purchased it at the similar time that I bought the Milani Bright Side stick, so around July-ish area, and literally I think it's pretty much all I used for at least 4 to 5 months. You could not pry my hands away from it. A lot of my other face products suffered because of that, but I don't even care. It's so good. Every time I don't wear this, I regret it. The one I'm wearing today, I fucking regret it. But we'll talk about that in another video because I'm still salty about it. But yes, I highly recommend this. One of my most used products of 2021 and will probably be one of my most used products of 2022 because I do not plan to let this little baby go anytime soon. The next category we're going to chat about is bronzer. My most used bronzers in 2021 were my Tom Ford bronzer. This is the shade in Light Duo. I completely finished up this shade this year. Before I started focusing on it, it did have a bit of a dip going on, but then I really committed to it, and this was all I used for like 3 to 4 months, so a good chunk of the year. Really love this one. If you're okay with spending some coin, then I highly recommend it. I really wish they would come out with singles, but I mean, it is what it is. But definitely one of my most used products this year. Another one of my most used bronzers is the Half Caked Your So Last Summer. I used this so much at the beginning of 2021. As soon as I picked it up, I think in like February, this was like what I use all the time. It's actually a product that I have on today. It's a really warm bronzer. So if you are in like the fair light category, such as myself, you got to be a little more careful with it in the winter months. But I still feel like I can pull it off. It's what I have all up over on my forehead here. And I don't think that it looks bad. If you think that it looks bad, say it in a nice way in the comments. Don't say it rudely. Please and thank you. That is all. But yeah, so really love this one and use that one a lot. Hey, editing me. I literally cannot believe I forgot this one, but another one of my most used bronzers this year was the Tower 28 bronzer in the shade West Coast. I actually completely panned that cream bronzer this year. I'll insert a photo of when I had pan in it, and then when I finished it, so you guys can see that. But yeah, I don't know why. I totally forgot about that one. Probably because I finished it and I have been using like another bronzer. I do have a replacement for the Tower 28 bronzer. I haven't opened it yet because I'm waiting to finish up a couple more creams, and I like that bronzer best in the summer. So yeah, that's another one I used a lot this year. I mean, I completely finished that baby. But yeah, on to go ahead and roll the OG content. For powder bronzer, the bronzer I used most this year, I actually decluttered. But I still have it over in my box. Hang on. Okay, I don't still have it over in my box, but it's a KKW Beauty. It's a contour bronzer situation. I can't believe I just threw that away. It seems like a missed opportunity for like a destruction post, but maybe I was in a weird place when I was decluttering and just like, get rid of it, put it in the trash. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so that was probably the most used powder bronzer that I used this year. Overall, like this was a really big year for creams for me. So I struggled to work on that bronzer, but in the beginning of the year, I did give it a ton of love. It was solely the only powder bronzer I really used if I was going to be reaching for a powdered bronzer. So that's the one I used. I really did enjoy it. I thought the formula was really good. I don't know if I would recommend it though, just because I really battled hard pan with that product. So that's just like, something to think about. Next category is blush. We have the Colourpop Matchmaker, shade Matchmaker. This is from their Milani collection, and I could not put this down for a while. When I was like, before the next blush we're going to talk about came into my collection, this was the one that I was frequently reaching for, getting a lot of use out of. As you can see, we have a pretty nice pan there, and I still reach for this on occasion, and I've continued to expand that pan. This is a really beautiful shade in my opinion. It looks like it would just look kind of like bronzery on me, but it really pulls like a pretty peach. It has like a nice peach undertone when I get it on my skin, and it is a glittery blush. If you don't like a glittery blush, then you will hate this. It's glittery, but I'm into that, and I think that it looks really nice and neutral on my cheeks, and it blends out super easily. So I use this a ton this year. The next most used blush in my collection, even if you can't tell, it's been used the most, okay, you guys? I dug through my archives on Instagram on the day that I'm filming this. I don't know when this video is gonna go. But, and I was just like looking through the whole year of my story archives to make sure my pan count was correct. And it was interesting seeing like when I got this product, when I got that product, because it seems like not that long ago, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, it really was like pretty long ago. And now I was going to reference that for this one, but I can't remember when I ended up picking up Fido, but I saw the story when I did pick it up. It was hot as fuck out. I think it was like June or July, because I put my finger right through the freaking Spectral Shine. But literally once I picked this shade up, it was game over for every other blush in my collection, which if you follow me over on IG, or even if you've just been here for a short time, this was all I used, and it still is pretty much all I use. I have it on today. Actually, it's just like the most beautiful warm tone neutral blush, and it goes with like every single look. I'm obsessed with it. Like, if I ever finish this, I will buy another one because I have to have it. And that's the thing, you guys. I've used this so much, and like, can you even really tell? I think we still have a really long time before I hit pan. Like, there's still so much product in this. So even though it's something that I've used a shit ton this year, it's something that's probably not even close to being done with, so it's a really good value. The next product is going to be in highlighters. By the time this goes up, I don't know if this product will actually be gone or not yet, so if you watch my project panning updates, don't run with this. Wait until you see my project panning update in January. But it's the Physicians Formula Butter Highlighter in the shade Rose Gold. I have it depotted right now into a different container because it was getting hard to use in here with the rings. So this is the one that if I was using a powder highlight this year, this is a powder highlight that I was using. I pretty much solely use this powder highlight all stinking year. It got tons of use, and I'm hoping to finish it up by the end of the year. As I am filming this right now, it is still in my collection. When this goes up, I don't know, because I'm making some really good progress on it. So yeah, this was my most used. I don't know. I don't think I'll repurchase it just because I don't really use cream or powdered highlight right now. And I decluttered a bunch of them. I'll link that up there. But I decluttered a bunch of highlights, and I still have quite a few in my collection. So I wouldn't pick this up again, but I would recommend it if you're looking for a really good highlighter. I'm wearing it today. It's really beautiful. It's a good one. The product that replaced that one is also from Phytosurgence. It is their Spectral Shine. This one is in the shade Dew of Dawn. Because of this product, I quit using powder highlighter. I just quit. I couldn't be bothered. This was so much better. I'm actually wearing the shade Divine Daylight, which is this lighter shade, all over my face today. Like, and I think I look glowy, but I don't think I look greasy. I put it all over my face as kind of like a setting cream. The brand had recommended that to one of my friends, and I was like, I want to try it because I will typically go in and I'll put it all over my cheek because it gives the most beautiful airbrushed look to the skin. Like, I'm sorry, but foundation I have on today is fucking trash. And you want to know what saved it? This product, because I set it all over and it helped smooth out the texture and give me a more airbrushed look, in my opinion. This also wears really well. It's easy to use. And yeah, it's so innovative, unique to my collection. There's nothing like it. This is the most used product. And I mean, honestly, I will definitely probably finish this next year. I love this shade. It's so beautiful on me in the summer. It's all I used. And I picked up lighter shades because I wanted to continue using it through the winter months. And Dew of Dawn is just like a smidge deep for me right now, but then I'll be back on my bullshit. Next product is powders. I only have one. Just the All Nighter Urban Decay Setting Powder. If I used a powder at all this year, it was this one. This one is my favorite. It's my holy grail. Obviously, it has a lot of use. This is my second one. I don't really use it in the wintertime because although this is marketed as translucent, it is not. It is not. It has a definite tint to it, and in the winter, the tint is too dark for me. And you will be able to see that like it doesn't match because the powder grabs and it's too deep and you can see it. But in the summertime, I don't have that issue, and this is so great to set This, I mean, I prefer this over my setting spray. This locks my makeup in, long lasting, makes it look good, doesn't get textured. The best setting powder I'd ever tried. I just wish that it was actually translucent, or they came out with a shade range to where I could purchase like a really light shade. But yeah, love this. Most used product of the year for sure. For liner, if you like a wing, I prefer felt tip liners. If you're looking to purchase a felt tip liner, my recommendation is from Tarte, which is interesting because I feel like Tarte is so just like, I don't know, doing their own thing. But the Tarte felt tip liners are a standout in my opinion. They're all I've used all year. I had the Sex Kitten one. I think I went through 2 of the Sex Kitten ones. And then my friend Taylor had given me this one. And this is the one I've been using. But Tarte felt tip liners, holy grail, way to go. They're the only ones I've been using for like 3 years. They're incredible. Like, not to my own horn, but I think my wings look pretty good. Like, I literally love it. So that's the one that I highly recommend if you're looking for something like that. My most used brow product is the e.l.f. Instant Brow Lift Pencil. Has a little spoolie on the end here. Rolls up. I have the shade, I think I get the shade medium brown. Yeah, medium brown. I go through one of these like every other month. This is what I always use in my brows. I personally think that it does a really great job. I love it, long lasting, looks good, matches them because my hair grows in. It has like a little bit of a, it's almost like a grayish brown. I don't really know. But I love this. And guess how much it is? $3 hairs. Guess how many backups I have? Like 20. Because I've run out of it and never again. Never again. Love this. Sticking to it. It's all I'll probably be using the remainder of 2022. So good. The next most used product in my collection is going to be from Pink Honey. This is their honey glue. This is what I use to hold up my brows. If you're really into soap brows and you struggle to find a brow glue that will hold them up the way you like, this is what I recommend. I know not everyone is into this kind of brow, but this is what I like, and this is what I think looks good on my face. If you don't feel that way, that's okay, but I don't really want to hear it. And this is the only thing I've been able to use that holds them up the way that I want. Since I picked this up, probably, I want to say like 2 to 3 months ago. I can't remember. This is all that I've used. So good. Highly recommend. The next products are going to be lips. And this one was kind of hard because I have a lot of lippies and I have a lot of favorites. And I actually think that I do a pretty good job of rotating through my lippy collection because I like to mix it up. So I just picked 2 that I felt like I could remember kind of going on a bender with these 2, if you will, where they were all I used for a significant amount of time, because the rest I really just feel like I rotate through really well. The first one is the Becca Lipstick. This one is in the shade Dune, and it's so funny because I hated this when I first got it. Like, I really didn't like it. It's what I'm wearing today, though. And I think it looks good. But I don't know what changed my mind, but I started using it over the summer and something about it just suddenly clicked for me. And then, like, that's all I was wearing because it was comfortable. I like the shade. It wore really well. And before, I think it had all those qualities, but I was like not feeling good about the shade. But now, and I almost wonder if it's because of my hair changes. Because before I was always just like very blonde. Now I have all this weird color going on. And then when I first fell back in love with this is when I had the part maroon, part blonde. So maybe it plays better off the different colors. But man, I could not put this down for a while. And when I was thinking, I was like, oh man, what have I been doing? I need to get this out. So good. The next product is the Milani Matte Naked 61 lipstick. If they're thinking that it doesn't even look like I used it, probably because I've only used this like 3 or 4 times. I actually picked this up, I don't know when I got this. I want to say like summertime. And I was obsessed with this shade, the most gorgeous cool tone pink. I used the fuck out of the lipstick. It was probably at least halfway gone, you guys. Like, do you guys remember that stage where like, this is the only lipstick I was wearing for like the longest time? Perfect everyday shade for me. And then at work, I went to reapply it and it broke in half. It was so terrible. And I tried to repair it, but I've never tried to repair a lipstick before, and I really just didn't know what I was doing. I honestly should have asked some of my friends in the beauty community first, because as I was fucking it up trying to repair it, I had people DMing me like tips and tricks, and I should have done that first. Bottom line, I ended up fucking that lipstick up, so I just had to throw it away, and then I went out and purchased another one because I just love it. So this was most used in my collection, not this particular one due to the death of the other one, but it is definitely most used. I really, really love this one. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, eyeshadow palettes. Most used eyeshadow palettes. Can you guys just take a second, guess, what are they? I have 4, and I think that that is accurate because for the most part, these are ones that I used or I focused on, and then I would rotate a lot of my other collection in between. Or I'd be focusing on like a custom 9-pan or some singles or whatnot. So these were the ones that I felt like as a whole probably got the most use. After I show you them to you guys, let me know if you think that there was a different one that I didn't include that got a lot of use. The first one that I want to talk about is the Scott Barnes Natural palette. This was one that at the beginning of the year, so before I even started YouTube, that I was using a lot, and I was using this also into like springtime, early summer, and then I also went through another stage where I was using it a lot again. This is one that I could honestly reach for a lot, and I probably will now that I'm, you know, going into 2022 and I'll be wrapping up some projects. But even though there aren't a ton of pans in this one, there is like some good dips and there is obvious signs of use. So I think that this palette looks really good. This is one of my most used palettes in my opinion. This is one that also I would highly recommend. I mean, it is a pricier one, but Scott Barnes does sales. My friend Danielle, her handle is Boise Beauty over on IG. She also has a discount code. So I definitely love this one. I think it's worth it. It's a really good staple neutral palette in my collection. And it was one that I used a lot this year, and I want to continue using a lot next year. The next palette is going to be from KKW Beauty. It is the Classic palette. So I had to do a little bit of research for this one because I feel like this year has felt like it's went so fast. But then when I'm going back and I was like looking in those story archives, I feel like the beginning of this year was a whole different lifetime ago. And I was like, that was this year? Like, it is so weird because a lot of these shades were in my Battleship project with my friend Alyssa. And I believe we wrapped that up beginning of this year. If I'm recalling correctly, I literally just looked earlier today, but you know. And so these were in it. This shade, this shade, this shade, and this shade. So I hit all of these pans. I think, I can't remember if they were all the beginning of this year or some were the beginning of this year and some were the end of last year. But either way, I was actively using that palette a lot at the beginning of the year. I also reached for this one periodically through the year. I think it's just like a really beautiful eyeshadow palette. It's a really great color story. It's a great formula. It's one that I really, really love. I then put these shades into a project with my friend Eleni. These 5 up to 4 or 5. Yeah, okay. These 5 up here. So over the past few months, they've been continuing to get used as well. And I'm still actively working on them to hit pan. I've been using the pink one as a blush a little bit to try and help me get that usage. But yeah, this is one that I've used a lot. Probably continue to use a lot. It's a really just great, you know, everyday basic look eyeshadow palette if that's what you're into, which it is what I'm into. obviously. Your bitch lives for a basic look. The next palette is Elf and J. Kissa. I think that I started YouTube when we had just started this. It was just after we had started this pan off. But I did this pan off with my friend Milani. This is the Elf and J. Kissa To the Rescue palette. And we did a pan off with it. And wow, this is pretty much all I used in companion with another palette for months. And honestly, I didn't really get tired of it until the end when I had, what shade did I have left? I think it was like Tank, Thatcher, and this shade over here, which is Pepper. Those were a little bit harder for me just because, in my opinion, especially Tank, I felt like Tank was the poorest quality shadow in the whole palette. It was very patchy. I could never get it to look the way I wanted. So it was really difficult for me to use. But everything else was so beautiful. I still reach for this sometimes. It's actually one that I'm going to rotate to the front of my section because I want to start expanding some of the pans on this. I really loved the formula. I love the color story. I created so many beautiful looks with this. If you guys want to see them over on IG, I have a whole guide and it has this palette and I attached the majority of the looks I created with it. I was looking through them last night and I was like, man, I'm inspiring myself. Like, oh, this was such a good palette. And I definitely want to start reaching for it more again in 2022. But obviously I use the fuck out of it this year. So that's why it's included. The last one that I have, I'm sure you guys can guess, near and dear to my heart, is the Tati Beauty palette. Can I get a applause? Wow. Doesn't she just look so good? Like, I went hard on this. When we started the year, I believe I had 2 pans. I had a pan in this and I had a pan in this. The rest of the pans were from this year. And when I tell you I was dedicated as hell to this, I was dedicated as hell. Even when I was using this palette, I was also typically finding a way to incorporate something from this palette as well. The same with when I was using other palettes. If I could incorporate the pink or the orange or this tone, like I would. And this palette is just... it's so good, you guys. I mean, you can create so many beautiful looks with it. I love all of the different finishes. This was so heavily used this year, and I gave it a bit of a break because I wouldn't say I was starting to get tired of it, because sometimes now I want to reach for it, but I don't because I'm like trying to get other projects done. But that's why I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a timeout on projects next year, because when I want to reach for a palette like this, I want to actually reach for it and I actually want to use it. So I still have my last photo from when I hit pan in every shade in this. And my plan is for 2022 to continue to work on this. And if we start showing a lot of progress, then I'll probably do another comparison photo or something. But yeah, I use this so much this year and I love it so much. And I can't wait to honestly just start like using it again. This one is so good. I'm sorry that it's not available anymore. I'm still really upset that Tati Beauty closed because we won't have any more volumes. But yeah, this was so heavily used this year. And yeah, that is all I can really think of in terms of what I used so much this year. And I thought it would be kind of fun to do that because it's like a lot of products that have pan or I've emptied and repurchased. And I just think that, you know, if you're watching this, you most likely probably have a large collection as well. And I think that when we're repurchasing products or panning products when we have a large collection, I just think that speaks so much to the product, because out of all the shit you have, that's what you want to reach for. That's what you want to use. So that's why I wanted to just share my most used products of this year to kind of give you a feel for what I'm reaching for on the daily. If I'm not filming, like, this is what I'm reaching for. Because like, obviously you guys don't see a whole lot of me over here. You see more of me on IG, but these are the items that I really love and I highly recommend. I mean, there are some duplicates from my best purchases of 2021 in here, and there are, yeah, I'm happy I picked these up. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop rambling now before I start to get all bleh. And yeah, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see next. I know I gave some suggestions earlier. And yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Bye!